Hello, and welcome back to the 2U Mystery Tour. I'm Alex.
And I'm Niku.
And today, you're taking us on the tour of...
Elisa Lam.
Oh, yes.
Well, this is actually going to be a little bit different because we both know about this case. Usually I tell you a case and you have to kind of... It's your first time hearing about it. And then vice versa with you and me. But... this time we're kind of doing a discussion and our kind of theories about this one.
Yep.
I'll give you a little bit, of a background for anybody of the listeners who doesn't know about this, but it won't be the first time you've heard about this. It's quite a notorious case, isn't it? There is a Netflix documentary.
There is.
That we watched.
We did.
It's quite well known already.
It is.
But we'll give you a bit of a background. So, Elisa Lam, this was actually also requested by Afia.
Was it another Afia request?
Yes.
Was it? Well, shout out to you.
Yeah, shout out to Afia for another request.
Yeah, let us know. Anyone else wants anything done, let us know. Please subscribe, leave a like, and let's get into it.
Yes. So, Elisa Lam, 21 years old, Canadian student. She was a daughter of parents from Hong Kong who moved to Vancouver. And she was a student at University of British Columbia. And a little bit of background about who she was. She was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and depression in her life. And she was actually being treated for this though, and she was taking several medications at the time of her disappearance. But she did have a history of not taking her medication, and she had, that resulted in hallucinations, and she had some hospitalizations as well. And she actually, in the past, before she disappeared, she had gone missing before for a brief period, which I'm not sure is actually mentioned in the documentary that we watched.
Oh, really?
Like just that history. I don't know if it was, because when I was researching this was the first time I'd read about that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So she kept a blog. She wrote in a blog where she posted almost kind of like diary entries. And she used it as a journal, and she spoke about mental health. And she, around the time before she disappeared, she wrote about having relapses and feeling directionless and lost. And she also, as like a header, I think so she has like a Tumblr, and on Tumblr you can have like a header. Did you ever have a Tumblr?
No.
I used to love on Tumblr.
I had to have Tumblr for education.
Okay.
Like in terms of when I was at college, I had to have it to showcase work.
Okay. I had a Tumblr that was like proper. Like I would post like quotes and like stuff like that for Tumblr. But at this time, this is in 2013, so I feel like Tumblr was quite big back in the kind of early 2010s and so on. So you can have like a header on your Tumblr, and she had a quote.
Oh right, yes, what you're saying.
And the quote was, "You're always haunted by the idea that you're wasting your life."
Okay. And
this is a quote by Chuck Palahniuk. Do you know who that is?
Nope.
He's the writer of Fight Club.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he's the author. So that was kind of her blogging, and she was also dropping some of her classes. I'm guessing because of her relapse and things like that.
Yeah.
So she decided to go on a getaway from her studies and kind of start to live more, again with that quote that she's not living you're wasting your life. She wanted to live more, and she decided to take a solo trip to explore California in the US. And her final destination was supposed to be San Francisco, but she was kind of going on like a tour through the cities of California, and then at the end she was going to finish off at San Francisco and then go back to Canada. So she took trains and buses, kind of like an interrail, but like obviously California is so big, you can do an interrail in just one state in the US.
So but she's done this herself.
She's by herself, which is, I don't know, like I feel like it's quite a brave thing to do, traveling by yourself. I don't know if I would travel on my own. Especially, I don't know, maybe when you're just on the road the whole time. I would maybe go like to a hotel and stay there.
I think it'd be, I don't, I think it depends on the person. I'm more concerned about the fact that you've got a bipolar person that's hallucinating, going by themselves.
She's on her medications and she's stable just now. I think like she's just. I think she's just feeling a bit down. I think she wants to get away from the studies. She had to drop classes, and I think she's on some sort of like the mend. I think I'm not quite sure. It's never really clear.
Yeah.
But she goes on this. Her parents were concerned, but she kind of made sure to convince them because she said she would call them every day. So she was in contact with her parents every single day. And so she during the first leg of her West Coast tour, she posted regular photos on social media. I don't know if Instagram, 2013, Instagram
Tumblr.
was about. Just on social media. Tumblr. Facebook and stuff like that, and she spoke to her friends and family back in Canada almost every day, and she even posted a photo of her at the zoo in San Diego, stuff like that. So she was actually keeping everyone up to date until she got to Los Angeles on the 26th of January 2013, and so she was in Los Angeles for 2 days. I don't really know where she stayed for 2 days. Maybe it was like I don't know, some sort of B&B or something. Yeah. But after 2 days, she checked into the Cecil Hotel in LA's Skid Row. Now, we will have a discussion on this. I'm just giving a background, but we'll kind of discuss different aspects of this case, and the hotel is going to be one of them. But yes, the Cecil Hotel, at the time, it wasn't as well known as it is now. But I think this case has really put it on the map. And she was initially assigned to a shared room on the 5th floor of the hotel, but her roommates complained about her odd behavior.
Yeah.
And she was moved into her own room after 2 days. And so some of the odd behavior was she was leaving notes for her roommates that said, "Go home" and "Go away." She also kept locking the door to the room and asking for a password. And a few days before her disappearance, while she was exploring LA, she went to a live taping of Conan. And I think Conan's like a daytime talk show.
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah. I've never seen it, but it sounds like something like, I don't know, like Lorraine.
It's it's more, it's like the late night, like the Late Show with James Corden.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's kind of like, I suppose you probably would equate it to Lorraine, or like the Jonathan Ross show.
Yeah, it's one of those shows, but it has a live audience, doesn't it? And then you can show up.
Or Graham Norton show, like things like that, yeah.
And people like laugh and stuff at like funny things because it's live. So that's what she went to, one of them in LA. And then she had to be escorted off the show because she was showing disruptive behavior.
Okay.
So again, this was something I didn't know about either. That she, she had to be taken away with security. And this is just a couple of days before she disappeared. So let's talk about the disappearance.
Yep.
So let's kind of backtrack. So 26th of January, she arrived in LA. 5 days after, on the 31st of January, she was scheduled to check out. She was only meant to be in LA for 5 days.
Okay.
And she was meant to leave for Santa Cruz next. She was reported missing on the 1st of February because her parents failed to hear from her.
Okay, so the parents reported her missing.
Yeah. Parents reported it to the LAPD. And the day she was meant to check out, the people who saw her were the hotel staff and like a bookstore clerk. And she was described as alone. She wasn't with anybody. And they described her as outgoing, lively, and very friendly. She was wanting to buy books to take home with her as souvenirs for Canada. And she was asking the book clerk whether they would be too heavy for her luggage or whether they would fit. So she was very much planning for the future, like, I'm going to go and take these from my parents, stuff like that. Yeah. So nothing suspicious. And then the research is carried out throughout the building of the hotel, including the rooftop. There was a search at the rooftop as well, but there was no sign of her. They said that they searched as far as they could. They didn't search every single room because they need like they need some sort of law, a warrant to do that, and legally they can't search.
Oh, what, to breach into?
Yeah.
Well, is it not technically a locked thing?
You need you need evidence to go into a room. They had no evidence.
Oh, right, yeah.
You need evidence for a warrant.
I see what you're saying.
And unless the people check out, you can't actually search the room because you don't have any reason.
Really?
Yeah, it's unless you have an evidence or cause for. I think it's called like a clause or something. I read it and I forgot the word. But yeah, it's a legal thing anyway.
Yeah.
So that's basically kind of the background. She arrived and she's disappeared. Now there's this infamous CCTV footage that was released.
Yes.
It went viral. This video went viral when it was released about a week into her disappearance. And it was released to try and gauge an understanding of maybe someone coming forward, to say.
Yeah. Oh well. I recognize this person.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And it is quite famous because she is behaving quite erratically. And there's also nobody captured in this video except her. So I thought we should maybe play it and we can discuss it.
I'm going to play it on here and then it will pop up probably
on your screen.
On the screen.
But for those
if you're
listening,
listening, I can maybe describe it.
Yeah, we can describe it. So it's actually her.
It's 2.5 minutes long, but we can play it in double speed.
Oh yeah. So she enters the elevator and she appears to be pressing every single button. She literally presses the whole thing and
she's staring out, and then she's like looking. And she jumps out of she kind of like ducks out the lift, looks really quickly left and right, and then jumps back in. Now she's hiding around the corner in the lift. She's
definitely looking like she's hiding from someone.
Yeah, she looks like she thinks someone's there.
She keeps stepping in and out of the elevator and like doing weird things where she steps in and out.
Yeah.
She's definitely like acting like she's playing a game with someone and she's hiding from them. It's like
I don't know if I'd say game. I think she thinks that someone's there or someone's coming. And now she looks like she's like loopy. Like looks like she's like having like a you might be like she's playing a game, like she's like pressing all the buttons and like she almost looks like she was kind of smiling there. It's worth noting that
this is so strange.
I hate this.
She starts moving her hands and her fingers really erratically. She starts twisting her fingers.
That creeps me out a lot.
The finger moving is so bizarre.
Oh my goodness.
Why is she doing? She's almost like doing some sort of signaling with her fingers, but
no, she was talking to someone and
just going like this.
Hand movements.
And then so the whole video, this whole time, she keeps pressing all the buttons, but the door doesn't close.
Oh, and now it's open again.
Well,
there's a shadow there. There's someone there.
That could just be like.
Oh no! Wait, maybe it's moving floors. What am I talking about?
It's moving floors.
It's probably going up and down the floors of the ones that she's pressed.
The whole time she's in this elevator.
It is, because they're different doors. Yeah, okay.
The whole time she's in this elevator, though, like even though she keeps pressing the buttons, the door doesn't close.
Yeah.
The door won't close, and then as soon as she leaves, the door closes straight after.
But she's in there's a sensor on the door.
But she's in the elevator because we've sped that up. She's in the elevator for long enough for that sensor to not act.
I see what you're saying.
Like it should have closed by then. And she goes back in and presses all the buttons twice.
Yeah.
Because she's like, why is it not closing, I think. The most creepy thing for me is the fact that she keeps hiding behind and then like looking really quickly to see who's there and then hiding again. It's so weird. So what do you think?
I think I'm not sure, because I mean she could be hiding from someone, but it all comes back, like, to me, especially like those notes, like leaving with her flatmate saying go away and stuff. What if she's not actually left them for, like, what if she thinks that there's like a demonic entity in the hotel, and she thinks she's being followed by this demonic entity? It's like coming for her all the time. And she is maybe off her medication, maybe it's not working, I don't know. but she's seen as like this demonic. She thinks this thing's coming for her, and that's why she's acting like she's leaving the notes for this thing. Then she's not leaving the note for the other people in the room.
Yeah.
And then that's why she's locking the door and saying that you need a password and stuff, because she's terrified that someone something's coming for her, and then she's doing all this crazy stuff. But are you gonna say how she thingied?
No, like I'll go on to at what happens after this video was discovered.
Yeah, I think she just seems like you can't tell whether she's like hiding and trying to get the lift to move, or if she's playing a game, as you said, and like, because there's part of that where she looks like she might be smiling, and this one that I've got up here is a 4K enhanced one.
Yeah.
A 4K enhanced. It's enhanced slightly, so it might be slightly distorted. But yeah, she's like banging all the buttons. She's acting as though. So I've seen people that act that way, really irrationally and really erratically, and it's because of like mental health kind of things. Like there's someone outside my window at work that acts in the way that they're talking to someone, but there's no one there. And they do all this stuff. It's just, but you don't know if it's drug induced. Is that the right word? But like it's because they've taken certain drugs or because they've not taken drugs. I don't know. But I think it all seems at the moment from that footage and from where we're at in the story that she seems to, maybe she's off her medication.
So,
in my opinion,
what do you think the hand movements are?
I think she's talking to someone and she's doing like that, and then being like, and then it's like nervousness. It's like a tick.
Like this,
bending your
But that's just so strange.
But I've seen people do they do gestures because they just want to. They just need to move things. Like things just need to move in their body, and they need to be moving constantly.
What about why did she? I don't understand why she pressed every single button twice. So she presses every single button. She does all this erratic stuff going in and out, and then she comes back and presses every single button again. Because
someone might have told her to in her head.
Yeah.
Someone's like telling her to push all the buttons, or she thinks, as you said, she thinks it's a game. And she's like,
I think she was being a bit playful sometimes because she would jump and look. And then jump back.
She would she pop her head out, quickly look, jump back, and then she would be playful.
And there's no one there.
Yeah.
It was a little bit. It seemed playful because she was jumping and like.
I don't think anyone was there, in my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Just from the difference in, if it was consistent and she was like properly scared, like kept hiding, like looking out and then hiding, and then, but it did, as you said, it was changing. Like she almost changed her like cadence and the way that she was acting within that footage. At
one point she did seem a little bit like distraught, where she almost like held her head and came back and pressed all the buttons because she'd had enough. But the elevator still wouldn't close, the door would still close.
That was a bit that is a bit weird. I'm not sure if there's some technical reason behind that.
Yeah, well, it's just weird how she leaves, and straight after she leaves it does close.
It does close, yeah.
How strange. So this is just this CCTV footage is just what makes this. I think this is the reason why this case is so big. Yeah. Because if this CCTV wasn't there, I don't think it would be so well known.
Yeah.
Because it baffles everyone. And so there's some theories about this CCTV footage that I thought I'd mention. A lot of people say that it's actually a tampered video, the one that was released by the police, because there's the timestamp in the video is obscured, and people wonder if that's because to remove parts of the footage, say to hide someone's identity that actually ends up being in the footage. Usually all footage have a timestamp. Yeah. And this one did, but the type that's been released has been cropped out.
Yes, that's I remember that from the thing,
I don't know if that's
I think at the time I was a bit like, it looks, because there's people that forensically analysed it and it did look a bit suspect. I do remember that, but I don't know, it's just when was this? What year was this?
2013.
So by this point, you would think that someone would have come out and been like, "Yeah, it was tampered with." Like keeping the circle that close, like a closed circle of people that know about that information. I don't think, because well, unless the police did it. But then again, why would the police do it?
Mm-hmm.
What would be the need for that? I would be maybe it was tampered with. Maybe they cropped bits out. Maybe they were like, maybe there's bits where she just wasn't moving.
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe they cropped out the bits where, like, maybe that would explain the elevator as to why it didn't close, because they cut out the bits where she was running in and out and like moving in and out, and it just looked like she was standing still. But in actual fact, she was like chucking her arm out the door and stuff to stop her from opening. I don't know.
I'd be more inclined to believe the tampering theory if there was a timestamp and we saw it physically jump. But I don't know.
I think you do.
Do you see a bit of
I
a
can't
jump?
remember it, but that's the problem, because the footage is so like bad quality, because it's so old. I don't know what I don't know. From my memory of the Netflix documentary, I thought you could see it jump, but I might have made that up.
Okay, so there is like some sort of evidence that.
But I might have made that up.
Yeah, so we don't actually know, but this is quite a famous kind of theory, like the most well known is that people are saying that they're trying to hide the identity of someone pursuing her, and it's because the timestamp's not on. Some other people are saying that she might be playing a game called the Korean elevator game.
Oh.
And the game actually involves you going into the elevator and pressing all the buttons, and you have to wait, and you enter a different dimension once you press all the buttons. And when you're in this different dimension, a woman enters the elevator and says hello to you, but you're supposed to ignore her and not speak to her. And this is like your route into a third dimension. And they're saying she's trying to enter that dimension, and she's looking for a woman.
Is this a well-known game?
This is like a game that people play. I don't know, like it's a known game, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Because imagine put that with, if she is off her medication and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Is she looking for this woman that's meant to be entering the elevator and she can't find her? Does she think she has entered the dimension?
Yeah, and then interesting. That's actually quite an interesting one. I've never heard of that before.
So this elevator game I don't think was mentioned in the documentary. I don't know if it was, but I can't remember. But it's
that's cool. I like that.
It is something I think kids play. You know, you'd have like games that you would play.
Yeah.
And this is something that kids play. And then another thing is that obviously the Cecil Hotel has a history that's quite dark, and we'll get into that later. But there have been a lot of deaths
at the Cecil Hotel
in this building.
Oh.
And some people think, is she being haunted by ghosts?
Is she being haunted?
Yeah.
Mm.
Is it why the door won't close? Because there's a ghost there.
Oh, right,
okay. Senses it.
Nah.
That was my theory there. Not what I've read.
If it's not aliens, I don't believe it. Yeah.
Just a little bit more about this Korean elevator game. You're meant to basically move up and down levels, which as part of the game. And on the 5th floor, you're meant to meet the woman. Yeah. And I think that might be the reason why
she
presses all these buttons, and when it doesn't close, she starts looking for her. But you're not meant to interact with the woman at all costs.
Yeah.
But by how she's looking for her and maybe trying to communicate with her, she is. So maybe she thought someone's going to come after her because she broke the rules.
I don't know. I think there's a lot, lot to unpack in that 2-minute video.
Yeah. So that's the video. Kind of discussed that. Now on to the actual body discovery. She was let's go on to actually how she came to be discovered. The guests began complaining about low water pressure. Their water was also black and had an unusual taste. 19 days after Elisa disappeared, a maintenance worker was sent up to inspect the water tanks because of all these complaints. And these water tanks were on the rooftop of the hotel. And he found Elisa's body laying face up in the water. And these tanks are 1,000 gallons. For us European folk, that's 3,785 litres. So they're huge.
Yeah.
And the So I'm just going to go through the the coroner's report
Yeah.
and the autopsy. So it was ruled as an accidental drowning, and the coroner also reported bipolar disorder as a significant factor.
Okay.
She was found naked with clothing surrounding her in the water, and all her clothing was covered in a sand-like substance. It was like a gritty substance it was all covered in. And her watch and room key were in the tank with her, but to this day her mobile phone has never been found. So don't know where her mobile phone is. And there was no evidence of physical trauma, assault, or suicide. The toxicology showed prescription medical traces, ibuprofen, Simutab, which is just sinus medication, and a small quantity of alcohol, 0.02%, so nothing really. And she also had no recreational drugs inside her system. The concentration of prescription drugs showed that she was under medicating, or she had recently stopped taking medication recently. So it was traces. It wasn't full amount of prescription that she was given. However, would it be out of her system after 19 days?
Well, I was just about to ask that about alcohol.
Yeah,
If they find trace amounts of alcohol, like if she was alive for ages.
But you stop metabolizing once you die. So it wouldn't be out of her system, actually.
But you'd.
I think she would. You wouldn't. Your liver will stop work. Stop.
But then that's the
functioning.
same with the drugs. Then.
Yeah, so I think it is accurate. And
But what if she fell in and she's like treading water for like 3 or 4 hours?
But it still wouldn't be enough. Like 19 days, it's not going to make a difference. Alcohol has a half-life that's longer.
But what I mean is like
a few hours.
Because alcohol, like if I drink this beer, it'll be gone out of my system in 2 hours, an hour. What happens if she falls in and she's treading water for like 2.5 hours?
I don't think she can do that.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah. So maybe there was alcohol in her system, but the drugs.
It's just a thought. I don't know.
Yeah, so maybe she was under the influence, but with prescription drugs, I can see the lights on. But the prescription drugs, they have a half-life of like, 36 hours or
Got
something.
You. Right, yeah.
Some of them
of course.
Some of them that's why they're so difficult to come off of.
Yes.
So, no, their half-life is long because some of them are... The longer the half-life, the easier it is to come off a medication. But basically, it's quite difficult to understand how she got into a tank. The doors and all the stairs to the rooftop are locked. You can't access any of these locations without a pass or a key. Also, if anybody tried to open these areas and enter these areas, there would be it would trigger an alarm.
Okay.
So it's kind of how did she get up there, basically? And there was a fire escape that could enter the rooftops, and her scent trail was found at a window that connected to this fire escape, but her scent wasn't on the roof, and her scent wasn't like on the fire escape itself, but it was at a window that was connected to the fire escape.
Okay.
I mean, maybe dogs can make mistakes, because these are like sniffer dogs that are like, I don't know, it's a bit odd. And actually getting into the tank itself, the tanks are 4 by 8 foot, so that's 1.2 by 2.4 meters. And they're cylinders, and they're on concrete blocks.
Yep.
There's no way you can access them unless you have a ladder, and there was no ladder found. Because she goes in, and then what does she do with this ladder? You can't. They're too high for her to go up and just step into.
Yeah.
And the lid is really heavy to remove. They're like big concrete, and they are massive. And there's no like handlebars, like to remove them. You have to like shove them. And there was a lot of people who were saying, how did she close it?
Yeah.
like she's in the water and she's like closing it. However, it was not fully closed.
It wasn't.
When she was found. So it's like...
She could like fallen in and then just like it like closes itself slightly.
I don't know, like maybe she didn't open it fully and she slipped in. And she never fully managed to close it. But how does she get up there? There's no ladder. There was no ladder.
That's interesting.
Unless someone removed the ladder during the searches, or someone went up to the rooftop and was like, that's not meant to be there.
I'm starting to think foul plays.
Yeah. And yeah, it's just bizarre. And another bizarre thing was again, the whole like scent not being picked up on the rooftop when she was there.
She had to like. I think that's just an error. That has to be an error because she was there.
Well, how does scent work? Do you need to be walking, or would it work if you were carried?
No, you wouldn't. No, because your scent wouldn't transfer via a shoe.
Does it work in an unenclosed space because it's outside?
That's a good point. That's a good point because she's at a window. She's probably holding on to something with her hand or something. Whereas if she's walking through somewhere, yeah, you're right. They might not be able to track you because you're not making contact with anything at any time.
Your shoes, though, your clothes are making contact.
I think I don't.
Because if you walk somewhere, that's you being traced. But if you're carried somewhere, you're not making any contact with any parts of the floor or the walls or
someone's carrying her like dead weight up a
fire escape.
Yeah, I don't know.
And this is like proper old school fire escapes, like a ladder outside of like a building. And another bizarre thing: after her death, her Tumblr was updated.
What? But what did they update it with?
It was updated, like there was a post. Did
it fit the usual post?
Yeah, it was like a usual post that was updated. However, don't freak out yet. There is a queuing option on Tumblr. Oh, I got you.
Boring.
So she might have queued a post and it was updated.
Yeah.
But how creepy.
That is, that's imagine that, bloody hell.
So, what do you think? We still have another topic, and it's the Cecil Hotel itself. But this was like basically this story of Elisa Lam.
Yeah.
I do have another bizarre fact for you.
Give me it all, and then we'll go back. We'll come back. We'll circle back.
I suppose this is okay. So this happened in 2013, and there was a movie that was released in 2005,
right
before this all happened, called Dark Water, and it was an American remake of a Japanese film, and the storyline is eerily similar to what happened to Elisa. A mother and daughter move into a rundown apartment building, and there is a dysfunctional elevator and they go into, and discolored water gushing from the faucets of the apartment lead them to the building's rooftop, and that's where they find a body of a young woman in the water tanks.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I have some ideas.
And so do you want to speak about the actual hotel itself as well? This hotel is just so infamous in itself. It's quite, I mean, I think you've listened to some podcasts that have spoken about it.
I listened to a podcast called Fire and the Kid. Shout out Fire and Kid. It has not really that much to do with mysteries and stuff. But the guy, Brendan Schaub, he loves like mysteries and stuff.
He should watch our podcast.
He's trying to go and I think they tried to, I don't know if it was the Cecil Hotel, but they essentially tried to do a podcast from that room, from the room that she stayed in or something. I can't remember what it was.
Oh my gosh. So it's open.
But yeah, he loves them. No, they couldn't get it.
Okay. Yeah, because so many people must go there and try and check in and try and go to the same room.
Yes, they do.
So the Cecil Hotel is 14 floors. It can house 700 guests, and opened as a budget hotel in 1924.
Yep.
And it's got a reputation for violence, and it's got an eerie history. It's notorious for suicides, actually. So first suicide that happened at the Cecil Hotel was a man called Percy Hook, and he shot himself after failing to reconcile with his wife and child. This was in 1927. In 1931, another man took his own life using poison capsules. And these suicides occurred throughout the 50s and 60s. There was someone seen actually jumping from their window, stuff like that. And also, I don't know if you've heard about Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia.
Yes.
There was
briefly.
There was an American Horror Story episode dedicated to her.
That's where I have. She told me about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was an aspiring actress who moved to LA to make it, basically.
Yeah.
And then,
yes.
Her body was found.
Yep.
And so she was seen drinking at the Cecil Bar days before her murder. So just a strange place. There's also the serial killer Richard Ramirez. Have you heard about him?
Maybe.
He was called the Night Stalker.
Yes, I have.
You have heard the Night Stalker. And he stayed at the Cecil Hotel for a few weeks during his crimes. So he would, during his murder spree, he stayed at the Cecil Hotel as well. But yeah, that's the case.
That's mad.
Yeah.
What hotel?
I know.
That's terrifying. Like, why would you want to go and stay there?
Do you think that because she was like interrailing kind of, she was probably staying in hostels and stuff.
Yeah, she'll have been staying in budget places, and she will as a person probably have been, if she wasn't on her medication or if she was on lower bits, maybe she didn't take all of her medication and she needed to, make it last or something. She was taking half doses and it was kind of triggering her in certain ways. But it's a bit weird that the scent thing I'm not 100% sure on, because I think there's too many variables in that. But being able to get up to a water tower or water tank, and that's so high that you can't get to it without a ladder, and then just falling in. Because I can see someone, my thought was maybe one of them was maybe she did get out, she got up to the top, she got into the tank, and everyone shit themselves and was like, oh, well, there's a way that like she can get up, and then they just start making up all these excuses. Or someone put her in there. Skid Row it was notorious for being like
not a very safe place.
Dangerous place. Yeah. So like you've got to be brave to walk down there. So, and like having a hotel there, there's going to be some nasty people probably kicking about. So is it feasible? Yeah, you'd probably need to have some hotel staff involved if you're going to get her into the roof and put her in the thing. The thing that sends shivers down my spine every time I think about it is the fact that people were drinking water. Yeah. Like they were drinking her.
And it was black.
They were drinking her. They were drinking her.
No, they weren't drinking her. Don't say that. She was like decomposing.
So they were drinking her. Horrible. I think
the hotel got sued.
The film parallel. Pardon me. The film parallel is really interesting because of the. There's another Netflix documentary called "Don't Fuck with Cats." Oh my gosh! Spoiler alert for this "Don't Fuck with Cats," but it turned out the guy was mimicking a film that he'd seen.
Do you think she's seen that film and she's mimicking it? But how would
I don't think she's... No, but that's what I'm saying. Maybe there was someone who was mimicking it and got her.
Because how would she foresee...
Because she was
Asian,
wasn't she?
She's originally from Hong Kong. Well, her parents were from Hong Kong, but she was... she moved to Canada when she was young.
But like I'm saying from an outsider's perspective, like if someone wanted to recreate this, then they like target the person who looks closest to the film character. I don't know. It was an American
remake, so I'm not sure. It was originally Japanese, but it was an American remake.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was originally Japanese. So it could have been a copycat, from the film, or it's just brutal accident where someone's kind of not been in their own decent state of mind, and they've just gone over the edge, and it's not great. But it'd be interesting to see the water tanker actually. We can put photos into our into this about where these tanks. There's 2 tanks that she was discovered in.
And I know for a fact people have been trying to see them, and people it attracts
they
a lot of tourists trying to see this, and you know, crime junkie type of people, true crime junkies, you know, like. I'm
just getting the water tank up now.
Shout out to one of my favorite podcasts, actually, True Crime Junkie.
What is that? Is that it? There. Mm-hmm. That's it. Mm-hmm. I could get in there.
You could. No, but
I absolutely could get in there.
She couldn't get in there.
I don't know.
Look how small people are.
You don't think you could get up there?
No, you can't open the thing.
Right. Do you want me to tell you how I would get up there? I would walk into the middle here, in between. So there's 4 tankers, placed on a concrete slab. There's a little ladder that goes up the concrete slab, and then there's 4 tankers. What you could do is you could get into the middle and use yourself as a brace and brace yourself and walk up, like push.
And
on
you were
either
able
side,
to open the tank as well.
And then just potentially.
You can't. You just can't open that tank while you're balancing on yourself.
No. But you get to the top. When you're up the top, you're on the top, and then you open it from the top.
But you're on it.
Yeah.
So
those little hatches are the doors.
No, the full thing has to open. It's the full thing.
What?
It's not a hatch. It's a full thing. You have to open the full lid.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Oh no! Look, there's a hole. There's a hole.
But can she fit in there?
Yeah. You could, if she seemed pretty slender. That was my thinking. So I
read that it was meant to be a whole cylinder door that you
might be right. It might be an individual one, but
I'm sure that I read that it was like a full thing that you need to open.
Well, we'll give that you know what? Let's let the listeners do the research, and they can find out whether it needs to be opened fully or not fully. But you might be right. Like he could, he's, but like that might not be the one that she was found in. It might be that one that might open differently. I don't know.
There is a hatch on that one as well.
Who knows?
But yeah, so bizarre.
It is. Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy story. It's a sad story. But my gut used to say that it was aliens that did everything, so it's not very reliable.
No.
But it says that it was probably an unfortunate her kind of state of mind that led her to the roof.
Yeah, because I actually think I agree that she maybe had a relapse. She was in a city she didn't know. She was alone.
Yeah.
And I think, especially with the events that occurred leading up to it, with her acting erratically at that show, then having to be moved rooms.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Actually, the build up to things was.
I wonder if she was scared of someone.
Or something.
But we'll never know. We'll never know if that person was real or not. And it's just it's bizarre.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's a different kind of thing today, because we both heard it before. But to be fair, there's new information there, and there's also information I completely forgot.
Yeah. So
it's interesting to recap it. And I think my opinion has changed based on, because I think when you watch things like Netflix, you're influenced by their narrative. Whereas I'm not saying there is a narrative to it, like a way that they want you to go with it, but you are influenced by it. Whereas this kind of information, like pure information, it's a lot easier to unbiased. Yeah, thank you, unbiased. That's one. But it was really good. Thank you for that.
Anytime.
And thank you everyone for listening, watching, viewing, subscribing. It's worth noting that our video is now also available on Spotify.
Yes. Check us out on there.
Yes, please like the video, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you thought, let us know your theories.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram, 2u_pod.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
At least one of us know. Yes, and we will see you next time.
Bye.